Hey, real estate fans, it's Nova back with you with Supernova Real Estate, and wanted to bring forth another question I had, and I get very frequently is Nova. I want to go to auction and buy a house. Can you help me? With my abundance of years in this business, doing distressed and going to auction and buying bank-owned short sales, foreclosures, real estate sales and other such products that sometimes make your head turn in their quality and condition. But do the work nobody else wants to do, and you get the benefits of that. But get back on topic. My clients, though, call or prospects, they'll email me and be like, I want to go to auction. If I see this property on realtytrack.com or auctions.com or on Zillow, and it says it's going to auction, and its starting price, the auction price is $200,000. How do I get that property? First and foremost, opening bids are opening bids, right? There are investors there, builders, developers, other buyers, first-time buyers, all at auction to compete with that property. And right now, because as you know, since inventory, it's the lowest it's ever been since 2011, which is still the peak of the distress of the Great Recession. The frequency of properties at auction that are viable are still few and far between. I mean, you go to Friday auction, there's probably 3 to 4 properties that are up for auction out of, from 2008 to 2011 that used to be like 130, 140, and now there's 3 or 4 or 1 or 2. And then you got to go and you got to listen to the auctioneer first read off the properties that are being postponed from auction that day or canceled without any notice to you whatsoever. You just got to show up, and that's part of the risk. Along with that, then you have to start bidding. And bidding and how you qualify yourself for bidding is a cash-only process, right? And you have to show the auctioneer cashier's checks or cash, but usually it's cashier's checks that equal the amount of the opening bid on that property. So if that opening bid on that property is $200,000, you got to show the auctioneer a cashier's check for $200,000 to qualify to bid. Along with that, let's say that $200,000 property that you're very excited about is worth $700,000 on our market, which is still at the lower end here in the Seattle area, right? So you can pretty much guarantee that property is going to sell for 80 to 90 cents on the retail dollar, right? So that $700,000 property is going to sell at auction for $630 or $560 in that range. Let's go. So we got to come prepared, to go to the extreme on that property. And you still don't get to tour the property. You don't get to see the inside of the property. There's no inspection, no appraisal, no protection. Okay? And most likely you're going to be saddled with a nice water bill because it's the only lienable debt that can follow the property after it sells. That could be in the range of $2,000 to $3,000 on top of that. So that's that, right? And you can't finance it, right? So the idea that you might, I'm going to come in and get a home, you can't. We have to have cash on that day. You can get a hard money. Hard money right now, usually 7 to 9% or 7 to 9% APR, plus 2 points to return the money, right? So if you borrow $500,000, when you return the money after 90 days, you got to pay them that payment every month. Plus, when you return that money, you have to give them another $10,000. As a thank you for letting me borrow that money for 90 days. It's just the way it works. That's the auction process. And right now, unfortunately, there are certain companies that are at auction too, primarily, that are buying everything that comes on the market no matter the price. So you can't win. Zero. They are backed by huge banks like the Columbia Bank is that Columbia River, Columbia Valley, whoever, local big, medium-sized retailer, and Chase. And they're backed with like $500 million. And they're just buying everything all around the country. It's called land banking because they know that it's an amazing asset to have real estate right now. Banks are like, yeah, these are all of our assets. And so we're going to buy them because we're sitting on all this cash too. What else? Oh, and for bank-owned properties, people will see an REO, a real estate owned, which is also known as a bank-owned property. And they'll see a transfer fee online, and on the transfer fee will be like $500, and people will get this magical idea that, oh my God, I can buy a property for $500. That's crazy. No, that is just a number that the county clerk writes in the deed that's transferred over to the new ownership, right? And it just has to have a figure in there. So the county clerk just writes in $500 on that deed transfer, right? When they're just transferring assets from one entity to the other, because a number has to be recorded. And like I said in my last video, banks are listing their assets at market value because there's too much of a deficit in inventory for them to need to underprice any value, any of their assets, any property that they have. So that if their asset comes in and it's worth $500, they're listing it, or for $500,000, they're listing it for $500,000. They're listing it for $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is. They're going to list it for that price because they are savvy enough and they have enough people working for them now that we all know that what the property is worth, and they're going to get it because there's the demand for it. Yeah. I mean, that's the short and dirty of this. Let me know your questions. Subscribe below. You can contact me at Supernova Real Estate below. You can follow me on Instagram at Supernova1, SUPANOVA 1. And have a great one. Let me know what you need. I'm here to help you. And as always, I want to be a part of the biggest moments in your life, and real estate lets me do that. Thank you.